Right now, county leaders have only a vague idea of when new COVID vaccine doses will arrive, but that may soon change. The heads up they could soon get and what that will mean for scheduling appointments.
And it's not just vaccine supply that's an issue. More medical professionals are needed to help administer the shots. How local dentists are stepping up and what they're suggesting to improve the process.
1 year after being quarantined at MCAS Miramar, a Nebraska man who only wanted his wife and a pizza reflects on his unexpected stay at Miramar. In a story that's positively San Diego, how he channeled his experience into working for the greater good.
ABC 10 News at 6 starts now.
Until now, the county has just been estimating when more doses of the COVID vaccine will arrive. Because of that, it can only schedule a certain number of appointments, and that has led to frustration for some people trying to get the vaccine. But that may soon change.
Our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz explains the county may soon know when those vaccines will arrive, up to 3 weeks out.
A limited supply of vaccines is a problem plaguing every state in the country. San Diego County says they get very little notice on when their next batch of shots will arrive, and that's why residents have been struggling to make appointments. But that's expected to change. President Biden vowing to give states more notice on how many shots are coming their way.
We have a 3-week window of visibility on vaccinations. That's what the Biden administration is providing the state. That's what we are in turn providing to the counties.
Newsom added they'll have more specifics on how that process will work once they formalize vaccination contracts with Kaiser and Blue Shield next week. Until then, residents like 66-year-old Tori Norton are desperately trying to schedule appointments.
I feel myself getting anxious, like going onto that website 3-4 times a day. Are they going to release them? The only days that are calendared for any available appointments are today and tomorrow.
She and her husband received their first dose at the South Bay Superstation on January 25th, where she says they got conflicting information on what to do next.
This one has been nothing but confusion. So I don't know if I need my dose on February 18th, like the nurse said, or if it's February 22nd, like the back of my COVID vaccination record card says.
Sharp Healthcare tells ABC 10 News they received a large shipment of doses this week and are now opening appointment slots for the weekend. They say they don't make appointments available until they physically have the doses in hand to avoid canceling on patients. Jennifer De La Cruz, ABC 10 News.
We asked the county if getting more notice about vaccine shipments will affect their appointment process. They say they can't provide specifics on that just yet. Our county leaders also say that we are likely to be about 2 to 3 weeks from moving into the next vaccination tier. That phase of vaccinations will include essential workers, but right now the focus is still on our seniors.
It is an important point to reiterate that our seniors constitute the vast majority of COVID deaths, the overwhelming number of COVID deaths. And there is presently not enough vaccine to do everyone who is out and about to control the spread. And so the supply of vaccines we have is dedicated towards saving lives.
The county says a little more than 3% of the population in San Diego has been fully vaccinated. Before entering the next tier, the county plans to set up vaccine sites for teachers at open schools. They're also looking for dedicated locations for law enforcement officers.
As the search continues for more medically trained volunteers that can help healthcare providers administer the COVID vaccines, dozens of San Diego dentists have signed up to be a part of this solution. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala goes in depth to explain the process and what's slowing down some plans to vaccinate more people.
Really excited to be able to give a vaccine because it's easy and they need people.
In January, the Department of Consumer Affairs approved a public health emergency waiver allowing California dentists to administer the COVID-19 vaccine as long as they completed several training and safety courses required by the CDC, a move the California Dental Association applauds.
We give injections in far more dangerous areas with blood vessels and nerves and moving tongues.
Here in San Diego County, about 60 dentists have completed the training and signed up to give vaccines in the community so far. Dr. Lindsay Pfeffer, an orthodontist, is one of them. She owns a practice in the Carmel Valley Del Sur area.
You have to go through courses about each vaccine, about administering the vaccine, reactions, if anyone's going to have a reaction. But you have to take a test and answer the questions right.
While supply of the vaccine is limited and and proper storage is an issue. Dr. Pfeffer can't offer to give the shots at her office right now, but she has volunteered at the Sharp Chula Vista Vaccination Superstation.
I had people crying, patients crying on Friday and praying and so excited. I mean, they were just like pulling their shirts down before I could even ask them the questions. It's really gratifying for me to just kind of help them.
Over in Escondido, Dr. Samin Eftekhari has also passed the approval process to give the vaccines.
I immediately signed up for it.
He's hoping to take it a step further and administer the shots at his practice, 760 Smiles. For weeks now, every Monday, 760 Smiles say they've been putting in an online request through the state to receive vaccines that would then be distributed by the county.
We have the deep freezers and we have refrigerator. There's a very specific guidance of how we can store these vaccines.
We started by telling patients a while ago, as soon as I applied for the position, I just started bragging about it because I'm excited to get it going.
They even set up an appointment system through their website, but the only problem is they haven't been able to get their hands on any doses just yet. A county spokesperson tells me as the county is still in charge of distributing the vaccines locally, they hope to one day be able to give the smaller practices doses when there's a steady stream available. Right now, it's still a waiting game. If and when 760 Smiles receives the vaccines, the goal is to set up outside of the practice and open appointments to the public.
It feels nice to be part of the solution. And the first opportunity to be able to assist, I took it. The more people do it, the better.
Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
The California Dental Association is also pushing for a law that would allow dentists to give vaccines beyond the pandemic, including flu shots. Other states already have similar laws in place.
Many homeless San Diegans received their vaccines today at Father Joe's Villages downtown. The organization said it just received about 200 doses and did administer them to people 65 and older, whether they live in their shelters or they're currently on the streets. Deacon Jim Vargas says that presents a challenge.
We will make sure that they realize that they have to come in for that second shot, and we will reinforce that. That said, it is sometimes challenging for our population to keep appointments, right? Because of things that are happening in their lives. And so our hope is that they will come in for those second shots.
Father Joe says it plans to hold these vaccination events every few weeks based on supply. And we know there are still a lot of questions and different experiences with the vaccine rollout. So our ABC 10 News in-depth team is committed to tracking down answers and sharing your stories. Just send us an email to tips@10news.com.
UC San Diego is using its signature early COVID detection system to help schools and daycare centers in some of our region's most at-risk areas. Vista Grande Elementary in Rancho San Diego is one of the 10 schools and 2 daycares using the system. The university installed machines to test wastewater for COVID, and staff are taking swabs from the middle of classroom floors to test for the virus. If they get a positive, participating students are then tested and safety protocols are taken.
We really wanted to think about how can we keep childcare available for people and how can we open schools for kids who really, really need to be there.
In 9 weeks, it's detected COVID in wastewater 10 times and found swabs of the virus 4 times. The county reported 1,100 more cases of COVID today. We're now just shy of 250,000 since the pandemic began locally. And despite the slightly higher number of cases, our 14-day rolling average still managed to drop slightly. And that's because daily percentages are down from 2 weeks ago. Sadly, though, the county is still reporting a high number of deaths. 51 more people have died from the virus.
Former President Trump's lawyers say that they may only take a few hours to present their arguments in the impeachment trial tomorrow. House managers wrapped up their opening arguments just this afternoon, presenting more evidence as they try to make the case that the former president incited the January 6th riot at the Capitol. It's unclear if the Democrats made a strong enough case to convince 17 GOP senators to vote for conviction, but they say they hope they have reached the American people.
This wasn't just an attack on the Capitol building and the dedicated people inside. It was an attack on what we were elected to preserve, our democracy.
Trump's defense team will make its case starting in the morning. They are expected to push back on several of the Democrats' claims, asserting that a former president should not be punished for making what they call a political speech. And we will continue to have live coverage of the impeachment trial on our streaming apps. You can watch by downloading the 10 News app.